a series of talks on natural plants and their benefits for mankind. The first talk was about aloe vera. You can find that on a separate video. The second one was on a grass species called tall fescue, Festuca arundinacea. But in both cases the issue was really what was inside the plants, their ingredients, and the active ingredients in aloe vera were some special sugars, and the active ingredients in the grass species was melatonin, and it was those benefits I was talking about. But the third plant, which I want to talk about today, is Cannabis sativa. Well, Cannabis sativa has a checkered history. It's been used, in fact, by mankind for thousands of years, and its benefits are well known. But in addition to those, if you heat it up and mill it or put it into a powder or some form which you can smoke it, one of the ingredients has a psychoactive effect, and it's this effect known as marijuana since the 1930s, which has attracted the odium of the regulatory authorities as a recreational drug and likely to lead to harm. But the other ingredients in Cannabis sativa, such as what is called cannabidiol or CBD, and many of the other cannabinoids present in the plant, are by far from being deleterious, and they in fact are beneficial to human beings. And it's that I want to talk about. Cannabidiol or CBD is present in some kinds of cannabis, and there are several varieties. For example, as well as sativa, there is also indica, arabica, and Afghanistani. So there's several different varieties which are fairly distinct, but have varying degrees of either CBD or THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient, tetrahydrocannabinol. And it's not that I want to talk about, it's the CBD. This is the cannabinoid which has been shown in a number of different studies to benefit human beings. For example, it's a big pain reducer, and it's being used today to reduce the pain in disorders such as multiple sclerosis. There's a plant on the market, there's a product on the market called Sativex, specifically addressing that problem, which you can get on prescription if you're a multiple sclerosis patient. But that is changing. The whole view of these medical cannabis varieties is changing. And so it was that in October of 2015, due to an enormous petition which raised some over 200,000 signatures, the British Parliament was constrained to debate the issue, which they did on the 11th of October, and that debate led to a statement in the House of Commons on the 27th of October 2015 by Theresa May, the Minister for Health, to say that in the forthcoming misuse of substances bill, they would be excluding medical cannabis from the stigma of prosecution, and that research into medical cannabis would not be regarded as an illegal operation. So it means that people can now research it, and our lab certainly has been doing that now for some time. The authorities, furthermore, don't seem to be too concerned about people growing small quantities of cannabis for their own use. And prosecutions in Wales, I think at any rate, have dropped by some 17% last year, and the level of interest is right down to 6% now. I think less than 500,000 plants were seized, and most of those were from producers with commercial objectives rather than objectives for personal use. So the whole political and legislative climate is changing and enabling for the first time us to look at this plant from the medical benefit point of view. I wouldn't say that we are going to be only looking at the medical point of view, because as a food supplement, CBD, cannabidiol component is beneficial from the point of view of being a food supplement rather than a medical solution. But it does have some really important benefits. For example, it does help people with rheumatoid arthritis. It prevents or seriously reduces the incidence of seizures in epileptic patients. It's a powerful antioxidant. It has benefits to the digestive system, and in many ways it's a useful food supplement as well as being potentially potent medical product. Well, that's really all I have to say about it today, except to say that our lab is now beginning to research this plant and its various cannabinoids. There are about 200 cannabinoids in Cannabis sativa, and look at it from the point of view of not so much full-blown cultivation, but as looking at the view of obtaining an industrial hemp license, which isn't expensive and which will enable us to grow it from the point of view of making it into anything from really materials for shirts to rope. Hemp has had so many uses. You can go into a fishing shop and buy hemp seed for a bait, as a bait for fish. And when I was a boy, I used to do that, boil it up and put it on the end of a hook and catch fish with it. Obviously the hemp that we're going to be using won't be boiled or heated in any way, because we need to preserve the proteins and stop them from being denatured by heat, which is what would happen if you heated it up and then smoked it. So there we are. It's a bit of a confused picture at the moment. We still have an awful lot to learn, but it's our objective to incorporate that into some of our natural food products later in 2016. So watch this space, and we'll hope to put it on the market as a food supplement product in some form, probably in combination with some of the other natural food products I mentioned later in the year. Thanks very much for listening, and speak to you again. Bye now.